You guys are the king of communication, or queen. It's Amelia. I'm one of the owners of the nursery. The difference with your company compared to other companies is twofold. The first thing is communication. If there is any sort of an issue or if there's any sort of requirement, you are very quick with your communication, especially your responsive communication, which puts you leagues above the other software companies out there, which I said already before. And the second thing that makes Illumine very different is that you are available 24/7 almost. It seems you have somebody on the team. Whereas before with other companies, they would have very specific office hours. You would have to put in a request, and then someone would have to look at the request, and someone would have to contemplate the request, and then it would go into a queue of requests. And even if it was a critical thing, it would sometimes take ages to get a response. So the second part of that, it sort of goes hand in hand, is even though technically you hadn't been in the earliest market, and there were lots of things to create or update, again, the responsiveness is insane with your company. We would say, this is a problem that we're having, we can't see this on our observations, or we can't do this on our observations, or the staff are struggling with this. And within minutes, somebody was there saying, okay, we see what the problem is, or can you send us a screenshot? Okay, now we see what the problem is, we'll get on that, you've got maybe give us 3 days. But the response, the communication, even if it takes 3 days, the communication with your company is next level. And I'd say if you're having a look at your company compared to, I think we had 4 or 5 companies before in all the 9 years that we've been in operation. We only had like 1 or 2 years where we had paper, and all the rest has been with companies that are similar to yours. But you are head and shoulders above the competition for responsiveness and communication by far. Yes, you know, there's lots of companies that do digital diaries. There's lots of companies that do support for observations and things like that. But you guys are the king of communication, or queen. We had 3 goals. Number 1, the software that we had before. 1 was particularly good value for money. The 2, I would say, were not good value for money. So we were looking for value for money, and definitely your price package was good value for money. And when we took it to our board, the board was happy with the pricing plan. So definitely your value for money is pretty good, which obviously bottom line for a business is very important. Even if it was a good package and the bottom line was not good, most probably the board wouldn't have gone for it, but yours was very competitive, and we felt it was, even though you hadn't been in the market, we were happy to take a chance on what we believe that it could be in the market for an early years product. The second thing was, we had huge issues before where we had companies that were not linking to the UAE weekends. So back in the day, the UAE used to have a weekend that did not include a Sunday. It was a Friday and a Saturday. So a lot of the companies that we had were in other time zones and were on a normal Monday to Friday work week, which meant that on a Sunday when we were working, they weren't working. It meant that we would only have technically 4 days, and with time zone restrictions, sometimes we would have 4 hours in the day. Once those 4 or 5 hours or whatever it is was over, only on 4 days a week, there was no one to help us. There was no one who was able to give any sort of support. Even if we had the whole system crash, we constantly had paper documents ready so that we could do all of our recording on paper documents in case the system went down or in case there was an issue. The second thing is your time when you are trying to do something on the tablet. The way that you have structured your software, it is very responsive, it's quick. The huge problem that we had before, which was a big complaint by the teachers, is they would go into the software, they would click on a child, They were trying to upload something and it would just go round and round and round. And every single time we said that there's a problem with the processing power or the quickness of the software, the responsiveness of the software, the answer was go and check if you have the latest operating system on Android. And the second response, which we did because we always updated it every day, and the second response that they had was go and check your Wi-Fi connection. But we were quite happy to see that when we did the trial to see if the software was responsive before we agreed to go with Illumine, the software was much more responsive. So I don't know what systems you have in place or APIs you have in place that links or whatever it is, but it is much better than at least 3 of the 4 software packages that we had before from speed of processing or speed of access. Because when a teacher clicks on the child, they don't want to wait 27 minutes while the child's data loads and they're still trying to watch the children and they're trying to update. They want something that's responsive. They can click on the child, what they need is up. They can add a photo or they can add a video or they can add an observation or an evidence or whatever it is, and it is quite quick to create it. The last thing is, the reason we actually left the last company was from the day we started with them, we had said we want management reports. And management reports are things like GLD reports. So a good level of development report, where the child starts at the beginning of the year and where the child ends at the end of the year. There is a calculation to see if there is a good level of development. It should be somewhere around between 70 and 80%, which shows that the majority of the children, either of that age group, of that gender in the age group, across an entire classroom or across the entire school, depending on what you're looking for, to see that you have year on year at between 70 and 80% GLD. So most children are doing a movement from where they started in the benchmarks to where they end in the benchmarks over an academic year. We had asked for this report for 3 years. 3 years. We stayed with them because they were a good package. We had general responsiveness. They didn't have crazy 4-day weeks and 4 hours a day. But for 3 years, even though we met with them multiple times a year and every single time we spoke about this damn report, they could not give it to us. Whereas when we spoke to you guys about that, this is one of the things that we need for this academic year, straight away we were like, just give us copies of what it looks like or tell us what you want. We'll be able to do the report. The other thing that we really struggled with for 3 years with the previous company is every single time that we get to the end of a term, we want to create a report that the children's parents can take to the school. It's a text-based report, there's no photos in it, and it's literally just every single benchmark for that child's age group with the information about the child at the top, and term 1, term 2, term 3, if the child only came in term 2, term 2, term 3, if the child only came in term 3, term 3. The others would be blank, so that they can take that to the school. It's a general text report that the schools want. They don't want a big palaver thing with lots of different pictures. The schools don't want that. They literally just want to know, out of the benchmarks, where did the child start? What are they grading at now? It's quite simple, and it's usually 1 or 2 or 3 or 6 pages depending on the age group, because each age group has different numbers of benchmarks. And again, 3 years, we did every single term, term 1, term 2, term 3. We took the data off the original software and we created our own Excel spreadsheet of that, which we are hoping that this academic year we can automatically do that with your company. So we don't have to put the time and energy of taking the data that's already there and just creating technically an Excel spreadsheet of something, you know. And after 3 years, we were like, no, this is never going to happen. Even after 2 years, we said to them, if it's not happening in the 3rd year, just to know we're not staying with you. We need 2 reports. One is for the children and one is for the GLD data, and they were not able to do that. Every single day, every teacher has to upload 3 to 5 pictures, unless there is a specific reason why they would upload more. But they should upload 3 to 5 for every child every day. So you shouldn't, we shouldn't have less than that. It is just the time component for uploading the 25 photos that they had per day. Now it is an easy experience, not a stressful experience. Whereas before, we constantly have staff coming out and making complaints. It's too much time, it's too much energy. Look, it's just going round and round. They've sent screenshots by WhatsApp, problem. And you would spend, as a manager, a lot of time soothing irritated teachers. So they still did the 3 photos because it was a requirement. But now it's this year I have had no, I want a meeting about about the software, I want a meeting about the time, nothing. I haven't had one meeting about that, which is good. I mean, this is the first time that we have been in a situation where we can be proactive, because we were very firefighting orientated before. So it's a little bit of a new experience for us being with a company that fixes the stuff so quickly that you can actually be proactive. I think personally, if I had to think about it, one of the things that for me as a manager would be a fantastic way to branch out would be data information, data related to impact of what the studies, impact of what the teachers are doing in the classroom, data related to showing that what we do as a program in Falcon actually has an impact on the learning, data about additional needs or special needs, data about the ability to read, like how fast the phonics program supports the children with basic understanding of phonics to move into a literacy program. Any sort of data that, number one, we can eventually show to EDIC, which is our education department. Obviously, if you're in Dubai, that would be the KHDA equivalent if you're in Sharjah, SPIA. Ministries, education ministries love data.